We get a lot of people ask us about our backstory and how we got started in RVing. It all really goes back to the beginning. Our daughter Shayla and her food allergies kind of sparked it all for us. When she was
about 6 weeks, she started with severe eczema, and after time we learned that she had several severe food allergies, including dairy, eggs, soy, wheat, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, shellfish, cats, and dogs.
Horses and cockroaches.
Yes.
They were in there. I don't know. Upon learning about her allergies, we realized quickly that we weren't going to be able to vacation or travel or go anywhere that involved other people's food, other people's place of residence, a hotel. And we had a job coming up in Cape Cod, and we thought we'd make a family vacation out of it. And then we realized quickly that in order to do that, we would need to get a hotel with a kitchen. And we potentially have to make it a nicer hotel because it would need to have less carpet, more tile floors. So what we needed to find was a hotel in Cape Cod that was new, that was clean, that had a kitchen, had a refrigerator, and a way to cook, not just a hot plate or
and during
microwave.
busy season.
And during peak summertime hours. So upon doing some research, we realized it would cost us a couple $1,000, and we said, you know, for a couple $1,000, we could get a camper and just do it for that money, you know?
So when he first brought this up to me, I was like, no way, I am not the camping gal. I like my own bathroom and shower, and there was
hair dryer.
There was just no way I wanted anything to do with camping.
Yeah. I told her right away that, you know, there are campers that have showers, and there's electricity in the camper. I'm not talking about tent camping, we're talking about in a camper. After a little research on our local online trader magazine, I found a 30-foot travel trailer for, what was that, $4,000?
Yep.
I think it was inexpensive, and it had a bunk. And when I told her that the girls could have their own beds, we have our own bedroom, she's like, what's wrong with it? You know, and so then we scheduled a time to go look at it. The owner that was selling it had done nothing to it really. It was pretty much original. It was done as all campers are in New England. It was a weekend camper, and it was something they took out occasionally on weekends, so they don't get very much use. We knew right there that I think that could be a camper for us to take, and so we bought it.
We took our first trip out to Cape Cod with the camper, and it really was a great scenario for us. We had our own kitchen there, and we were able to cook all of Shayla's food and really get to enjoy our time in Cape Cod.
Although we went our first trip 2 exits up the highway and blew a tire because the tires were old and they looked newish, but they were not, so we had to get tires before we actually went.
Yes.
So right away we knew about RV repair. But anyway, it was off and running. We brought our own food with us, of course, because we have to, but we brought all our own food, and we had just a great experience. There was an incident with Shayla, though, that raised some concerns, and we chalked it up to the possibility of it being a reaction from cooking eggs that morning with butter in the RV on the oven, and we did not have the exhaust fan on. We just didn't think it was that important.
In hindsight, she does have airborne reactions to dairy.
Yeah.
So it very well could have been the butter in the air. However, on our second camping trip, the following spring,
we only did that one trip that year, right? Yeah, if I remember, yeah.
So on the second camping trip that we took her on the following year, we went to a local campground in Connecticut. We had a great weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend. She did experience quite a bit of wheezing. However, we had campfire going the entire weekend because that's what you do in New England. It's, you know, it's weekend camping. It's campfires and s'mores and, you know, just running around and having a great time. So she did experience some heavy wheezing that weekend. However, at the time we had a fabric couch. We still had carpet in the RV, and I think we were still cooking a lot in the RV, and it just took some getting used to figuring out what she needed in the RV to make it work for her.
Yeah. After the incident with Shayla's asthma attack, we realized that there could be other elements inside the camper that are triggering all of her reactions. So we quickly realized that we needed to potentially gut the camper. We gutted it and took everything out that was fabric because it seemed like it could be holding older allergens in there from the previous owner. It could be holding just tons of
smoke
dirt,
from the campfire,
smoke, mold. I mean, we don't know. So we took out everything that was fabric: curtains, floors, seats, cushions, couches, bedding,
Carpet.
everything.
Everything. After we did all that, we took a few more camping trips that summer, and everything seemed to go okay. We really didn't have any other issues.
Yeah.
Some of the campgrounds we went to, we asked to be put towards the back, so that way we're not in the middle of all the campfire smoke, and that also helped. And then we also made sure that we were inside earlier in the night before the campfires really got going.
6:08 p.m. is when you got to go inside in New England, because at 6:15 all the rookies start making fires, and now all that really is a bunch of smoke because they don't know what they're doing. And then by 7 it's really just fires, but that hour there is pretty smoky.
During one of the camping trips that summer, we were at one of the campgrounds and they had a few RVs on display, and we thought to ourselves, let's go check them out. I would love to see what a new one looks like inside. So we went into one and we just thought it was the most amazing thing ever. It had a kitchen island, which we were like, seriously?
What? Campers have this? This is outrageous. The bunks were bigger.
There was a fireplace, and we just could not believe that RVs had this to offer.
It had a leather sofa. It had hardly any carpet. It just had a little bit on the slide out, and
outdoor kitchen.
It had an outdoor kitchen. I was like, what? How is that even an option, you know? Especially since we've adapted to cooking outdoors more often because of the fear of the smoke inside and being able to cook breakfast eggs, and we just weren't even bringing that into the camper at the time.
So that following January, we went to an RV show in Hartford, and we were looking around and we came across this very same camper
model
at this show. So within an hour,
we bought it.
So April of 2015, we took our first trip with our new Sunset Trail. We went down to Washington, D.C. area, and we were just out walking around the park, and
oh my God. So we're walking around the park, and there's this guy comes out of this gorgeous Class A. It is the prettiest, biggest RV I've ever seen. So here he comes walking out with a velvet robe. I don't think he was wearing anything underneath.
It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he comes down his stairs, goes into the underbelly basement, hits a button, the latch comes up, and there's this wine refrigerator. And I see him look in there, and he pulls a bottle of wine up, hits a button, the whole thing shuts automatically, and he goes back in. And I tell her, I'm like, you gotta, I don't even know what to make of what I just saw. And then I said, I have to meet this guy, you know, like at some point, like I don't know what his story is, but that was hilarious. So then on another stroll, we're walking our dog, and I see him outside, and he had
fully clothed.
Fully clothed, yeah, he was fine this time, normal. And I had to ask him, like, you know, I saw he had Texas license plates, and I said, well, you're from Texas? And then he's like, no. This is where we do our mailing address and such. And I'm like, blown away. I have no idea what he's talking about. And he's like, this is what I live in. It's my house. And I'm like, no way. You live in that? Like, you don't have like a house? And he's like, no. And I ran home. I was like, Jen, you gotta see this. Like, they don't have, this is what they live in. And we had never heard of the concept of full-time RVing.
Coming from New England, camping, RVing is all weekend only.
It's
very seasonal.
Yeah.
It's just during the summer.
It's campfires, s'mores. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what camping is. So when we first learned that people live in their RVs and they just travel around.
So we never knew that living full-time in your RV, or at least traveling along extended times like that, isn't even an option. We only knew it as weekend, or 1 week at a time, or 4 days at a time. So it blew our mind. We were pretty impressed.
Yeah. So fast forward to August of 2015, we were at a friend's house, and Shayla had her first anaphylactic reaction to one bite of a chip that contained dairy in it. And
it was right before school was supposed to start, right?
School was supposed to start in about a week.
Yeah.
And
we were terrified.
Yes.
To put her in school. We were terrified to put her into a preschool scenario, but we were going to do it anyway and take the chance. And then
after this first anaphylactic reaction, we thought to ourselves, there is no way we can send this little girl off to school. It just didn't seem possible. All this over one bite of a chip just really seemed, it was really defeating.
Yeah.
We knew she had severe allergies. We just didn't realize to what extent they were.
Yeah. And thinking about her in a school scenario, just any little kid could give her something and
Goldfish.
she's too little to know, and she's like, oh, does that have dairy in it? And they'd look at it and think, this isn't milk, this is a goldfish.
Right.
You know? And, you know, she takes one bite of that. That would be a lot more than she even had during this time she had a reaction. I mean, literally she had the corner of a piece of a triangle of a chip, like it was the smallest amount. And she spit it out.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. But it was just the powder on the outside was enough to, it was rough.
So we knew from there that we were going to need to homeschool Shayla. And over the months, we were just talking about homeschool.
Coming to grips with it.
And we were okay with it.
Yeah.
And then Leighton was still in school at that time. And we honestly don't know what triggered it, but the wheels just started turning. And somehow it just...
Well, it just came out. Yeah, I don't know.
It just morphed into we decided we wanted to try to travel.
And what's par for the course for us is to come up with something like this crazy idea and actually develop it, commit to it, and do it all within like a day. Because that's what we do sometimes. But, you know, we just, you know, in Connecticut and New England, in general, our photography business is very slow in the winters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not where business comes from for us. Primarily wedding photographers for all the years. There's just nothing happening. 1 or 2 or 3 weddings a year in the winter, but so in the winters we don't have anything going on. We're stuck inside the cold house that we don't want to be in anyway.
Shayla was also, as she was getting older and she was starting to develop more asthma issues, every little cold
Yes,
turned
I forgot about
into a
full-blown
asthma attack every time. We were in the hospital multiple times during the winter. Just winter
every
was just
cold.
not going well for us.
And as a treatment and remedy, it was hospital visits, steroids, pumping her full of medicine all the time just to keep her on the top end of being healthy enough to breathe comfortably in the winter with all the colds that are around.
It just wasn't the life I wanted for her. I didn't want her on a daily steroid, and I didn't want her in and out of the hospitals due to breathing. I just wanted her to live as normal of a life as she could.
Yeah. So that grand plan just happened, and we were like, we should just take off for like 2 months.
3.
And well, I think we said 1 month. Like, let's take January off.
We did say that.
And then we're like, we could take January off, and you know, it wouldn't even hurt us. Like, we're just, you know, we're not doing anything anyway. We have no work, so let's just take the camper down somewhere warm. And then we're like, well, where can we go? No, it started as like 3 weeks.
It did.
Because we're like, it's going to take us a week.
December vacation
Oh,
for
yeah.
Leighton because we were trying to work around her school.
For Leighton's school. So like
So we figured she was only in first grade, so we could just pull her out of school for maybe, you know, 1 extra week after Christmas vacation.
So we're like 2 weeks. Like, how far can we go in 2 weeks that it's warm, and then enjoy ourselves and come back? And then, well, how did she get out of school? I forgot how that would happen.
Well, you know what? Then we decided 2 weeks wasn't going to be long enough, so then we thought maybe January, and then we thought, well, geez, we could really go December, January, February, March, and just be back for April 1st. Is really what happened.
Yeah, you're right.
So quickly we started researching bigger RVs.
I just really wanted a velvet robe with a wine fridge.
Oh my
No,
goodness. So we started just researching bigger RVs. We were looking at a fifth wheel. We knew that we were debating between a toy hauler and
a bunkhouse
fifth wheel. We knew we wanted the girls to have their own space, their own room, so we can just shut the door and they can be them back there.
Yeah.
And we wanted
because
our
we
own
needed
room.
time.
Yeah.
You know, we needed separation and space so that we can do work too and set up an office so I can edit. We can make phone calls and video Skype meetings for clients back home.
Yeah.
So we knew that we needed our own separate space that the girls could also, they don't have to be silent for an hour and a half, 2 hours, or 6 hours during a day. Like, they're not going to be able to do that. So
Right.
we thought for sure we'd need a separate room. And that's how we came up with the idea of a fifth wheel or a toy hauler. And the toy hauler was fine for me. I in my mind, I thought, no big deal. I could build anything we want. I'll build a bunk bed scenario for them with an underneath desk system for myself. But then ultimately we just found, well, we found the RV that we found.
Right.
And I'm not even sure how. I think that the salesman just showed us kind of something we were looking at. And for all practical purposes, it was 88% of what we wanted.
Right.
You know, I mean, some of it needed to be remodeled, but I think every RV is that way, so it wasn't really a big deal.
Right. Another reason why we decided to travel, one of my very best friends was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she quickly passed within a couple years.
33 years old?
Yep, she has 2 kids, and I just said to myself, there has to be more to life than this. We had also lost another friend in a drowning accident, and these people are our age, and we were thinking to ourselves, how could this be? Like, how can we lose 2 people that we know when they're so young with kids?
Anything can happen. Like, everything we're working so hard for, building our business, buying things, and, you know, accumulating and building the American dream, and hustle for what? You know, all of a sudden it could be gone in a day, and we knew that. And so we said, listen, Shayla's our option, Shayla's our direction, she's our compass, she's what sets our tone as to what we're gonna do. We don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring, let's just take a chance. Like, this is our one chance. That's where we came up with the name. Like, this is our one chance at living life to the fullest. And even, I think initially our one chance was really just a statement about, this is our chance to cross the country, because I don't know if it'll ever happen again. So we set things in motion and started the conversation. So after revisiting the same dealership that we bought our Sunset Trail from, they showed us the options, and we came across a really great deal on our fifth wheel. Way bigger than I ever dreamed we'd want to be in. However, you know, the price was right, and with the right tow vehicle, it could have all worked out. And so we put everything in motion and we bought it. And although we'd only had our other travel trailer for 8 months, we traded it in. Took a little bit of a bath on it, but that's part of the process, and we knew that was part of the expense of taking this change. And we got what we needed, and we put it on hold.
Again, we knew that we were going to need something brand new with Shayla, so it wasn't just as easy to just go out and purchase something used.
Right. New was important to us for that reason. Just prior allergens, mold in the vents, you know, animal dog dander in the vents, or the air conditioning system or the heating system. It would all have to be reworked for us anyway, so new is definitely the only option. A leftover's fine for us too, which is what we ended up buying, was a leftover, but that was important that we had brand new.
Right. So Thanksgiving 2015, right after that we took off on our first trip. After Thanksgiving we went out west. California was our destination.
This was our one chance, so all the way to California.
All the way. We made plenty of stops along the way.
Yeah.
Hit up as many national parks as we could, and we had a great time.
We had a really awesome experience. I mean, again, we thought this was one chance for us to do such a thing, and so we really tried to soak it all in.
We came back April 1st.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I do remember we did come back and it snowed on April 1st. We were like, are you kidding me?
We've been escaping it, and
we clearly did not leave long enough.
No.
So after coming back, we realized that it was just not enough. It was not enough time. You think that 3.5 months is just so much time to drive cross country and back, because essentially you could do it in 3 days.
Yeah.
But it just was not. There is so much to see, and we weren't done traveling. We still.
Well, we came back, and I remember saying, I think we missed more than we saw.
Yeah.
We also learned about what else was out there for national parks, that kind of close to where we were, and we didn't go to see them. I mean, we just came back and said we missed everything. Like, we just need to do this again.
We're not sure where the end of our fourth chance is going to take us. We always decide things on a whim. We never really make a big plan, and we're okay with that. It's what fits our lives, and
it fits RV life, because you have to change your plans often, because things don't go as planned.
Right.
But it also fits exploring life.
Right.
You know?
The girls are still really enjoying traveling, so
I feel like they're just finding their groove. Too.
Yeah.
Like, they're just getting into it finally after all that time.
Right. I think they're finally at the age, they're now 10 and 7, and I think this is really good ages for them to really grasp what we're doing and where we're going and who we meet, and it's just an incredible opportunity for them.
If you want to follow us more, obviously we're on Instagram. That's one of our main places to post. On Instagram, it's R1Chance. And follow us on YouTube by hitting subscribe. You know where that button is, I assume, or you wouldn't be watching us right now, would they? Probably not. Do you know where that button is?
Well, don't ask me.
You notice I keep moving towards you and you keep moving away, by the way.
I haven't even moved.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe it's our legs moving, but
Ew.
I literally have
Yeah,
not
don't
moved
touch me.
my... Really?
We don't need that. I don't know.
Cole, no.
I hit record, right? I can't stand that.
What?
What do you mean out? Outside? Did you grab him? This guy cannot drive.
Can you stop starting your truck?
So if you want, so we get a lot of people ask us about our backstory and how.
So.
Huh?
You said so.
Can you start it then?
We get
Okay.